Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hi, my name's Bree. Stay for a while. Obviously you've clicked on this video because you want to hear some unpopular bookish opinions, and let me tell you, we have quite a few to get through. So I asked over on my Instagram for you guys to send in your unpopular bookish opinions and you guys delivered. Okay, we've got some very controversial bookish opinions that I'm very excited to share with you guys. Cece, come in to say hi. Say hi everybody. Well, anyway, we're going to be going through a bunch of the bookish opinions today. I do just want to say, disclaimer, that, you know, these are opinions. I'm going to keep everyone anonymous, but these are opinions. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You might not agree with them. I might not agree with them. I might agree with them. We don't know. Reading is subjective and everyone's entitled to their opinions. And this video is just for some light-hearted fun. So keep the comments clean, please. I've got them all up on my phone and I'm just going to go through them. I'll tell you my opinion, I'll tell you my thoughts and feelings on them. Like I said, this is just for some light-hearted fun. So grab yourself a drink, get yourself nice and cozy, and let's get on with the video. So I'm just going to start from the top and work my way down. Kindle reads is better than paperback. I 100% agree. Well, I like 90% agree with that because I love my Kindle and I read so much faster on my Kindle. Your Kindle is just so much more convenient, and if you do not have a Kindle and you are a reader, you need to get yourself a Kindle or a Kobo or some sort of e-reader device because it is life-changing. Okay, like I can just get into bed and I can just lay sideways, cozy up under my duvet and not have to get in all these weird positions to make sure I'm holding the book correctly. It's a life changer. It's so much more convenient. It's so much better. Even if you don't get yourself like a Kindle, you can download the Kindle app on your phone, and I've read so many books just on my phone, especially when I'm in work and things and I'm just having a little break in work. Then I just get the Kindle app on my phone. I'll just read a few pages of my book that I'm currently reading on my phone, and I feel like it doesn't really make a difference. I don't feel like everyone needs to have big Kindles and stuff. You can just download the Kindle app on your phone, or I know, like, if you have an iPhone, you've got Apple Books and stuff. They've got some really good books on Apple Books so you can buy. It's just so much more convenient. Okay, just lay in there nice and cozy. But don't get me wrong, I do love my physical copy of books sometimes. There's nothing better than just like opening a book and like smelling the pages and like turning the pages. I do really love that. Are you just gonna clean yourself right there? Ignore, she's just giving herself a little bath while we're doing the video. But yeah, there's nothing better than just a physical book sometimes. But if I could only have, I don't know, if I had to choose between my Kindle and my physical books, like if I could only own one or the other, I would probably choose my Kindle just for how convenient it is and how comfortable it is, and just, it would probably be my Kindle, which is so sad because I do like my physical books, but the convenience of that a Kindle brings is just unmatched. Right, moving on. Romantasy is ruining fantasy. No. I feel like fantasy and romantasy can be two separate genres in and of themselves. I don't feel like you need to join them together. So to say that romantasy is ruining fantasy, I feel like they're two separate genres. Anyways, you've got your fantasy, your general fantasy books, and that's fine. They're fine on their own. And then you've got romantasy books and they're fine on their own. I feel like to say that romantasy is ruining fantasy, no, because they're two separate genres, technically, in my opinion. Like, I am a romantasy reader. I love romantasy. I really struggle to read fantasy unless there is a romance element to it. That's just me, because I can only read romance books. That's what I like. That's what I am. I am a romance reader. I much prefer my books to have that romance element in them. Even if I was reading a thriller, I'd feel like that's probably why I don't read thrillers and stuff, because there's no romance elements in them, because that's what I enjoy. So to say that romantasy is ruining it, I can see where this person's coming from. I feel like a lot of us now need that romance element in books, and I think she's referring to sort of like high fantasy books, and high fantasy books don't need that romance element. I feel like trying to, like, the way that I'm trying to get like the words from my brain out in the correct order right now. So she's like, if she's referring to like just general fantasy and high fantasy, I feel like a lot of us now always need that romance element in them. And I can see where if she is just like a high fantasy girly, then I can see that they're kind of annoyed because authors are trying to do more romance and, well, romantasy, and they're trying to add more of a romance element into it, even if it is a subplot. But there's so many books out there that are just general fantasy, and in my opinion romantasy isn't ruining fantasy because they're two separate genres in and of themselves. I feel like you can have fantasy with a subplot of romance, and I love those books. I've read a lot of books where the main focus is the plot and then the romance is a subplot, but then I do really love romantasy where, you know, there is a plot but then the main focus is the two main characters. I do also love that as well. I feel like they're just two separate genres. Romantasy's over your fantasy, they're two separate ones. Oh, I love this one. Annotating books is pointless. I'm not a big annotator. I've annotated a handful of books maybe, and have I gone back to them to look at quotes? No. There's one book that I've gone back to and I've only highlighted one bit in that book. It was one quote in that book that I highlighted because I really resonated with that quote. And I do kind of see like, yeah, it can be pointless because I haven't gone back to look at the things that I've highlighted and tabbed. Like there's loads of like book reviewers, people on Bookstagram, people on BookTok, people on YouTube, people who just review on Goodreads and stuff. There's a lot of people who are like heavy reviewers and they probably rely on their annotating to go back and pull quotes from certain bits to put in their reviews and to make their reviews better. Because if you go onto Goodreads and you look at reviews, there's some essay long reviews and they've got quotes in them, and I feel like without annotating they wouldn't be able to give us those reviews. People wouldn't be able to give these really in-depth reviews without them annotating books. So I feel like to say that it's pointless is kind of wrong, because it's not pointless. It might be pointless to that person specifically, the same as like it's not really something I do a lot of the time because it is a bit pointless to me unless I do really feel like I want to annotate something. But for some others, like the really big reviewers, it's not pointless for them. So without annotating, we wouldn't have these big reviews on Goodreads with all the quotes and all the in-depth things, because no one's going to remember all that. We need to annotate, we need to tab things so we can go back and remember, because when I finish a book I don't remember jack shit that I've just read, to be fair. In my opinion, annotating is not pointless. And then someone said fanfic books are better. I haven't read a fanfic book before. I really want to read Manacled. I've got it on my Kindle ready to read. I've never read a fanfic. I know like a lot of people read a lot of like Wattpad books and like fanfic about like Harry Potter. There's so many different fanfics out there, honestly. There's thousands and thousands. I was gonna read, it came up on my TikTok once, a Vampire Diaries fanfic. It was about Caroline and Klaus like in the future and stuff. It was just like a fanfic of them, and I was like really wanted to read that because I am a Caroline and Klaus stan. I love those two. So I was gonna read that, but I just never got around to reading it, and then I don't even know where it is anymore, that certain fanfic. I can't really have an opinion on this because I've never read one, so I can't give an opinion. Oh, I was waiting for this one. BookTok is toxic AF. Well, I agree to some sense and then I disagree as well. They are speaking about the toxicity of people's opinions on BookTok. Yes, it's toxic AF, but then if they're speaking about how BookTok is ruining the publishing industry and ruining books for people, then no, that's not toxic. But I feel like that's a different topic. I feel like they're on about like BookTok as a whole, the people who are on it and being toxic over on BookTok. And I think that's very true. I myself have never been involved in any like controversy or anything like that, but I know a lot of people that have, and I speak to a lot of people who have been involved in a lot of controversy, and it can be really toxic. Seeing like people are very opinionated, especially on the internet. It can be quite vulnerable opening yourself up on these big platforms, especially when you have like thousands and thousands of followers. People are opening up onto these, they're sharing their experience with reading, and then people are just trying to like pick apart certain things and like catch them out all the time, and I think that can be really toxic. And I do feel like BookTok is meant to be this supportive community about books, and we all share the same love for a certain thing. We might love certain genres, but we all love as a collective books and reading and bookish things and just cutie bookish things. We all love those kinds of things. But then you do have some people that are just really opinionated, but BookTok can be very toxic. Very toxic. I feel like Bookstagram is such a much more wholesome place. I love Bookstagram. I love scrolling on my Bookstagram. It's so much more wholesome. When I go over to TikTok, it's so controversial, very opinionated, just like little things. People just pick on little things all the time, and it can be very toxic. But I'm gonna stop talking about that now because I could go on forever. Authors who do book recs videos and rec their own book in every video. Right, I know quite a few authors that do this, especially if you're an indie author and you do have a platform. People do book rec videos, and then in each video they do promote their own book. To be fair, I don't see the issue in this. It's their own book. If I wrote a book, best believe it'll be on every damn video I upload. I'll be shoving it down your throats to go buy it, to go read it. Is it harmful to you? No. Can you just scroll away? Yeah. What does it harm you in any way? No, it's just someone promoting their book. Especially as indie authors, they haven't got these big publishing companies to promote their book for them. They haven't got the money to send out ARCs to people and things like that. So they're relying on their book rec videos to push their book out. So just let them live. Oh, okay. There is such thing as too much spice. Yes, there is. I always say in my videos, there is such thing as too much spice, unless it is a spicy book. It's been published. That's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be an erotic novel. It's meant to be a spicy, smutty book. Nothing else. Then that's fine. I know where I'm going into, but sometimes I feel like authors are just adding in spice in random places in like a general romance book just because the book community have said that they like spice. And you know, that's only a minority of people that really do enjoy spice. There's a lot of other people like me that don't like that much spice. I feel like authors have it hard sometimes. They've got to cater to everyone, and honestly, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be an author in the world that we live in now, in how big the book community is now. I couldn't do it because I feel like we've already said people are very opinionated. Just from this video alone, we're all very opinionated when it comes to books, and like I say 1,000 times, reading is subjective, and you might like a really spicy book. Like my friend Danny loves spice. She always asks me when I read a book and I recommend it to her, she's like, is there spice? You know, there's a little bit, and she's like, I might not enjoy it then. But that's her opinion. That's what she enjoys. But sometimes in my opinion, and in this person's opinion, there can be too much spice. But moving on, tropes in books just ruin it. Yes, as I've already said, I sometimes don't want to know the tropes. Like if you tell me accidental pregnancy, I know it's ruined unless the female main character gets pregnant in the first like 3 chapters, then I don't want to know. Like if it's something that's like in the middle or towards the end, you've ruined that book for me. You've really ruined that book. Fair enough, like enemies to lovers, things like that are fine, or friends to lovers is fine. But you know, like the really like the micro tropes sometimes ruin it. And I get some authors want to promote their book and they'll be like, it's got this in it, this in it, this in it, this in it. But sometimes it's too much and you've ruined the book for me. Oh, I love this one. Crescent City is Sarah J Maas's best work. Yes. 100% agree. I have read Throne of Glass. I got halfway through the tandem read of Empire of Storm and Tower of Dawn. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I got halfway through. I hated it so much. I was pushing myself to read them because I just wanted to be able to say that I've read the whole of Throne of Glass. I wasn't enjoying the series. A single book up to that time had been over a 4-star. They'd all been 3 to 4-star. I wasn't enjoying any of them. I was literally just forcing myself to read them. And I like the plot and everything of the book. It was well written, and you can see as the series goes on how Sarah J Maas grows in her writing and how the plot grows because her writing is becoming a lot more developed and she's becoming a better writer. Crescent City is one of her most recent books, like book series, and I think Crescent City as a whole is one of her best work. Just like for the plot, the world building, the way that she's integrated like the Massiverse into it, like the whole universe into those books is insane. And if you reread the books, you will see that like there's so many little things in there that add up to like one big thing, and it's amazing. I love Crescent City so much. It's my favorite series of Sarah J Maas. I love ACTA because it's very special. Crescent City, I just love it. Honestly, it's so freaking good. You have to read Crescent City. It's difficult to get into because the world building is so intense, but that's what makes for a really good fantasy book, is this amazing world building, because in the end it pays off. I could ramble on about Crescent City for hours. And then conveniently we've got ACTA, unpopular opinion. ACTA is not the world's best book series. 100% agree. Do I still recommend ACTA to everyone I read? Do I still ramble on about ACTA all the time and how much I need to live in Valaris with Asriel? Yes. Do I think it's the best written fantasy series in the world? No, because I know for a fact that there's, like I literally just said, Crescent City is so much well better, like written wise and world and plot wise, than ACTA. So already that's better than ACTA. And just like looking at my bookshelves, there's so many other things that are so much better than ACTA, but people just have a connection with the actor. That's why they go on about it so much, because it is a series for so many as a starting point in their reading journey, and I feel like that is why people speak about it so much. So we're not saying that it's the best series in the world, because we know it's not. We really do know it's not. It just holds a special place in our heart, okay? And just let us live. Let us be, okay? Oh, I love this one. A good book doesn't have to mean good writing. So I 1000% agree with this. Like, I could not agree with this more. Like, I ramble on about the Zodiac series all the time. Literally all the time. That's all I speak about over here on this channel. We might as well just be the Zodiac Academy channel, because I recommend it to everyone. But is it a literary masterpiece? No, it is not. Are there spelling mistakes? Yes, there are, and I'm dyslexic and I can point out some spelling mistakes now and again. So for me to point it out, the really high intelligent people can as well. They can probably spot a lot more than me. Is it a grand old time? Is it like trash TV that you cannot get enough of? Yes, and that's the beauty of reading. It doesn't have to be the best written book. That's why I cannot read Olivia Blake, because she writes so well that my dyslexic brain cannot read it, because I do not know what the frick she is on about. So just let us dyslexic people be and read our dyslexic friendly books, because sometimes you just need a book that's like trash TV. Okay, so moving on, we've got Fourth Wing is horrendous. I mean, I wouldn't say it's horrendous. It's a 6-star read for me personally, but I can see why you might not enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It's honestly a 6-star read for me. I absolutely love Fourth Wing. I'm not a big fan of Iron Flame. I feel like there was a lot of back and forth. Still rated it a 4-star. There was a lot of like back and forth on Iron Flame, and I feel like she rushed to get Iron Flame out because Fourth Wing was so big. But Fourth Wing was really well written, in my opinion. It was done well. It was easy, like paced very well. Everything was spread out really well. Really well. Like, is there a better word for like really well? But I just really enjoyed Fourth Wing, and I can see why some people might not have. A lot of people were, when it first came out, a lot of people were saying, you know, you can tell that it's her debut into fantasy, she's mixing up a lot of things, but I didn't pick up on any of that, to be honest. And sometimes debut novels I struggle with, because I can tell that they're debut novels, and I'm not like a critic in any way, and sometimes I can pick up on those things. So for some people who read a lot of high fantasy, they might not enjoy it, but for us cutesy romanticy girlies, it's perfect. Emily Henry is okay. That's gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings. So I like Emily Henry. I haven't read all of her books. I think I've only read 2. I read Beach Read. Have I read 3? No, I've just read 2. I read Beach Read. Is it Beach Read I've read? What's the one with Gus and January? Is that Beach Read? Like the 2 writers. I think I read that book anyway. So the Beach Read, or it's, what's the other one? Beach Read or Book Lovers. It's one of those that I've read. The one with Gus and January, I think their names are. So I read that, and I've read Happy Place. Really enjoyed Happy Place. Loved it. The other one that I read, didn't love that so much. I think I rated that like a 3-star. It was like okay. But some people are like die-hard Emily Henry fans, and that's fine. Like, I'm a die-hard Abby Jimenez fan, but I know some people just do not love Abby Jimenez. Same as Callie Fortune. Freaking love Callie Fortune. Some of my favourite books are Callie Fortune books. Especially This Summer Will Be Different. Love that book so much. And I think this just goes to show like how subjective reading is, because I find Emily Henry okay as well, same as this person who's sent in the opinion. But then some people might find Callie Fortune okay as well, but I absolutely love Callie Fortune. And it just shows how subjective reading is, to be honest, and that's the beauty of reading, in my opinion. Someone sent in, I don't rate my books. That's insane. How do you like what? What do you do when you finish a book? Like, I can't wait to get onto my Fable app and just update my Fable and say that I've checked off a book and given it my little rating. That's my favourite thing to do when I finish a book. What do you do? Do you just close the book and never think about it again? Or do you just like mentally know all the 5 stars you've given? Like, do you just mentally rate your books? How can you not rate a book? In my head, even when I'm like 4 chapters in, I'm like, oh, this is sitting at like a 3-star right now. And then I'll get to the end and I'm like, oh, this is like a 3.75 now. Like, this has happened and it's like the plot's got better, so it's like this now. I'm just like, what do you do if you don't rate them at all? Do you not like mentally think of like where it sits on like a rating scale? Or do you just read it and not think about it, close the book and forget about it? Because that's insane. That is crazy behaviour. Cruel Prince series is overhyped. Yes! I can see why people like it, but for me, I really didn't like it. It was mid-series, very mid. The first book I was like a 3.75, and then I read the second one, that was like a 2-star. That was giving heavy middle book syndrome. And then I DNF'd the series because I was like, I can't even be bothered to read the third one. I do not care what happens. Not for me. Maybe if I'd read it when I was younger, because it was quite YA. So I think it is kind of overhyped. Well, I don't think anything can be overhyped. I hate that word, overhyped. That's an unpopular opinion. Like, the word overhyped is overhyped. Like, why? I feel like everything is appropriately hyped by the people that love it. People say that ACTA's overhyped. No, it's hyped up by the people that love it. Some people are just louder and able to push things because it has more eyes on it. But it's not overhyped. It just means it has a bigger group of people loving it. So I wouldn't say anything can be overhyped. Same as like Cruel Prince can't be overhyped. It's correctly hyped by the people that love it. I'm just not one of those people that love it. But I do agree with this, but the term overhyped I dislike. Okay, we're on to the last few books now, so let's just power through because I've been filming for a very long time. The last few books, the last few prompts, opinions. If a series takes 3+ books to get into, it's not a good series. I honestly could have written this myself because this is my biggest opinion, like unpopular opinion, I feel like that I have, and it's the one that I stand by the most. But the only series that I can give an example for this is the Throne of Glass series. If you ask anyone, they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, it gets good after the 3 books. Why? I should be hooked from the get-go. I read Zodiac Academy and I was hooked from the first book, and that's like a 10-book series more or less, plus novellas. So I'm just like, why are we taking 3 books, 3-4 books to get good? It should be good from the get-go. It's not a good series if the first few books are bad. I don't understand why. It really, I don't know why, but if someone says to me, oh, after like, if I read a book and I'm like, oh, I didn't really enjoy that, I probably won't enjoy the series, they're like, oh, you know, just keep on, it gets better, and I'm like, but why? Why are they bad at the start? They should be good. They should be hooking you in. That's the most important part of a series, is the beginning. Like, it should be a very good beginning to hook the readers in to want to continue the series, because if it's not good, I'm not going to want to continue it. Quality over quantity. Facts. Facts. I am behind on my Goodreads goal. My Fables, well, my Goodreads goal, I can't call it my Goodreads goal, but my reading goal in general, I'm behind. My Fable says I need to read 24 books a month, so I need to read 24 books in November and 24 books in December to be able to reach my Goodreads goal. I would rather not reach my goal than read a bunch of rubbish short books just to be able to reach that goal. I would rather read quality books and have really good reads that I've enjoyed than read a bunch of little books just to reach my goal. Like, I know a lot of people do videos towards the end of the year where they just read a bunch of novellas just to reach their goal, and during that time of reading those novellas you could have read a really good 800-page fantasy book that could consume you. You could read something so good in the time that you've read those 50 novellas, and I'm just like, I would rather quality over quantity any day. On to the last 3. Audiobooks count. Yes. And if you're watching this and you think audiobooks don't count, please leave. There's the door. Audiobooks count, because if you say that they don't count, it's a bit ableist in my opinion. Honestly, you are discriminating against a minority of people who are blind and saying that they cannot be a part of the book community because they don't read, because they listen to audiobooks, so they're not readers. Yes, they are. Just because they listen to it doesn't mean they're not a reader. Can blind people not be a part of the community, of the book community? We're meant to be welcoming to every person there is. Reading is a general term, no matter how you take it in, whether it's listening to it or reading it or any other format. Reading is just a general term. It's an umbrella term. It doesn't matter how you take it in. Audiobooks count. Oh, I said we have 3 left, but knowing book tropes just spoil the book. I've already spoken about this. Spoils the books. And then lastly, I throw my dust jackets away. Oh my god, I read that wrong. I thought it was I take my like dust jackets off, but she throws them away. That's criminal. I have never ever heard of anyone throwing their dust jackets away. I'm gonna grab a dust jacket right now. So I've got my Sergio Mas, just like my House of Sky and Breath book. So you're telling me when you open a hardback, you throw this away and then you just keep this? That's so boring. This is the best part. When I read a hardback, I take this off, I put it to the side. When I'm done with the book, I put it back on. very mindful, very demure, very cutesy. But to just have the naked back on your shelves, that is a crime. Honestly, jail. Like, don't you want the pretty, like, this is so much better. Don't you want the pretty art on display? What if you really love that book and you've just thrown the dust tracker away? That is criminal. Honestly, I don't think I could ever get on board with that opinion. Ever. Yeah, that was all of my unpopular opinions. I feel like we got riled up quite a few times. I agreed with some of them, I disagreed with a lot of them, but it's all fun and games over here. Don't take anything to heart. And let me know in the comments down below if you do have any other unpopular opinions. Let's have a little discussion in the comments. Let me know if you agree with any of them or if you disagree with any of them. All light-hearted. Keep it all light-hearted in the comments, please. No one come for anyone. We're a light-hearted community over here. The adverts have come on the TV. But yeah, we're a very light-hearted channel over here. Keep everything light-hearted in the comments, please. And I will see you guys in the next video. So don't forget to subscribe down below, give it a thumbs up, all that jazz, all the YouTube stuff that I always ask you to do. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!